What if I told you the most powerful heart medicine in your home is free and sitting in your tap? By simply changing the order of what you drink in the first 10 minutes of your day, you can naturally thin your blood, lower your morning pressure, and protect your heart without a single new prescription. It is the easiest health win you will ever have. But right now, millions of you are doing the opposite. You are unknowingly entering the danger zone. Between 6 a.m. and noon, your blood is naturally thicker and stickier than at any other time. This is biology, not bad luck. Yet, the average morning routine, the very habits we find comforting, actually compounds this risk, turning your blood into sludge and forcing your heart to work against impossible resistance. You think you are waking up, but you might be putting your cardiovascular system into crisis mode. We need to fix this immediately. Here are the 7 morning habits that are silently stressing your heart, ranked from common mistakes to the absolute #1 danger you need to stop today. Number 7 is shocking your system with temperature. We all want to feel clean and refreshed to start the day. For many, that means jumping straight into a steaming hot shower to loosen up stiff joints, or perhaps a brisk cold one to wake up. But for a heart over 60, extreme temperatures in the first hour of the day are a significant biological stressor. Your body has spent the entire night under warm covers, maintaining a very stable core temperature. When you step immediately into very hot water, your blood vessels dilate rapidly. This causes a sudden drop in blood pressure. To compensate and keep you from passing out, your heart has to pump faster and harder. It is an immense workload on a muscle that is still waking up. Conversely, cold water does the opposite. It shocks the vessels into constriction, driving your blood pressure up instantly. I recall a patient named Martha, 72 years old, who complained of heart palpitations every single morning around 7:30 a.m. We tracked her diet, her medication, and her sleep. Nothing made sense. Finally, I asked her about her routine. She told me she loved a scalding shower to help her arthritis the moment she rolled out of bed. That was the trigger. Her heart was racing to manage the blood pressure swing caused by the heat. The solution is simple. Give your body 30 minutes to adjust to the room temperature before you shower, and when you do, keep the water lukewarm, neutral. Save the therapeutic heat for later in the day when your heart rate has stabilized. It is a small change, but it saves your heart from running a marathon before you've even had breakfast. Number 6 is doing intense exercise without a warm-up. We are told constantly that exercise is the key to longevity, and it is. But the timing and intensity matter immensely. I see so many motivated seniors who wake up and immediately try to do high-intensity interval training or heavy lifting because they want to get it out of the way. Here is the physiological reality. When you wake up, your cortisol levels are naturally peaking. This is the waking hormone. Your heart rate is rising, and as we mentioned, your blood is thicker. If you force your heart rate to jump from a resting 60 beats per minute to 130 or 140 within minutes of waking, you are creating a supply and demand mismatch. Your heart muscle needs oxygen to pump, but the blood supply is sluggish. This can lead to ischemia, a lack of oxygen to the heart muscle itself, which is a primary trigger for angina or even heart attacks. I am not telling you to be sedentary. I am telling you to be smart. The fix is a gentle ramp-up. For the first 20 minutes of your day, stick to light movement, stretching, slow walking, or Tai Chi. Let the blood flow increase gradually. Think of your heart like a car engine in the middle of winter. You don't slam on the gas the second you turn the key. You let it idle. You let the oil circulate. Your blood is that oil. Warm it up gently, and your heart will thank you for years to come. Number 5 involves your psychological state, checking stressful news or emails immediately. This is a modern trap that has become a physiological disaster for seniors. You open your eyes, reach for the phone on the nightstand, and start scrolling. Bad news, political arguments, stressful emails from the bank. Before your feet even touch the floor, you have activated your sympathetic nervous system. This is the fight or flight response. Your brain perceives a threat, even if it's just a headline, and signals your adrenal glands to dump cortisol and adrenaline into your bloodstream. For a younger person, this is annoying. For a senior, it is dangerous. Your arteries are naturally stiffer than they used to be. This flood of stress hormones causes your blood vessels to clamp down, so you have a situation where your blood pressure spikes rapidly while you are still lying in bed. This morning, hypertension is a silent killer. It wears down the inner lining of your arteries and can dislodge plaque. I advise my patients to buy an old-fashioned alarm clock. Keep the phone in the kitchen. Create a buffer zone of at least 30 minutes in the morning where the world is not allowed to intrude on your peace. Use that time for prayer, meditation, or simply looking out the window. By keeping your cortisol low, you keep your blood vessels open and relaxed. Number 4 is a dietary mistake. The salty and greasy breakfast. We love our traditional breakfasts. Bacon, sausage, hash browns, buttered toast. It tastes like comfort. But biologically, a meal high in sodium and saturated fat creates an immediate, acute reaction in the vascular system. When you consume a high-sodium meal, your blood volume increases because sodium pulls water into the bloodstream. This raises pressure. Simultaneously, a high dose of saturated fat can cause what we call postprandial endothelial dysfunction. That is a fancy medical term meaning your arteries temporarily lose their ability to dilate. They become stiff tubes rather than flexible hoses. This effect peaks a few hours after eating, right when your blood pressure is already naturally highest. You are essentially stacking risk on top of risk. I want to share the story of a gentleman named Robert. He was a creature of habit. 2 sausage patties and eggs every morning for 40 years. He had stubborn high blood pressure that 3 different medications couldn't fully control. We made one swap. We switched his breakfast to oatmeal with walnuts and berries, foods rich in potassium and nitric oxide, which help open blood vessels. Within 3 weeks, his morning blood pressure numbers dropped by 10 points. He didn't need more pills, he just needed to stop stiffening his arteries with sausage. The solution is to save the heavy, salty breakfasts for very occasional treats, not daily rituals. Prioritize fiber and fruit in the morning to keep your arteries flexible. Number 3 is the opposite error, skipping breakfast or eating too late. You might think, fine, I just won't eat. That is also a mistake. When you sleep, you are fasting. Your blood sugar drops. If you wake up and don't refuel, your blood sugar can dip too low. The body views hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, as an emergency. To correct it, your body releases, you guessed it, adrenaline. It tries to force the liver to release stored glucose. This adrenaline surge causes palpitations, sweating, and anxiety. For a heart that is already sensitive, this roller coaster of sugar and adrenaline is exhausting. It can trigger arrhythmias, specifically atrial fibrillation, which is very common in the over 60 population. You don't need a feast, but you need stability. You need to break the fast within an hour of waking to tell your body, we are safe, food is here, no need to panic. A small amount of protein and complex carbohydrates, like Greek yogurt or a piece of whole grain toast with peanut butter, is enough to stabilize your glucose and keep your heart rhythm steady. Number 2 is a mechanical issue. Getting out of bed too quickly. This sounds so simple, but it accounts for a huge number of falls and cardiac strains. It is called orthostatic hypotension. When you are lying flat, your blood is evenly distributed. When you stand up suddenly, gravity pulls that blood down into your legs. In a younger body, the nervous system reacts instantly, tightening the vessels in the legs to push blood back up to the heart and brain. As we age, that reflex slows down. It gets laggy, so you stand up, the blood drops, and your heart is momentarily starved of return flow. It has to beat frantically to catch up. This causes that head rush or dizziness. For someone with a weak heart, that sudden drop and frantic rebound can trigger angina or fainting, and if you faint and fall at 70 or 80, the consequences can be devastating. Here is the 1-2-3 rule I teach everyone. 1. Sit up in bed and wait for 30 seconds. 2. Swing your legs over the side and sit on the edge for another 30 seconds. Wiggle your toes to activate the calf muscles. These are your secondary hearts that help pump blood up. 3. Stand up slowly, holding onto a nightstand for support. Taking that 1 minute allows your blood pressure to equalize. It saves your heart from panic and saves you from a hip fracture. And now we arrive at number 1. This is the single most common, most dangerous, yet easiest to fix habit. The habit that makes your blood thick and hard to pump. Number 1 is drinking coffee before water. I know. You love your coffee. I am not telling you to quit coffee. Coffee actually has antioxidants that can be good for you, but the timing is fatal. Here's the science you need to understand. You lose water while you sleep. You breathe out moisture. You sweat, and your kidneys filter urine. You wake up in a state of mild dehydration. This means your blood volume is lower, and the blood itself is more viscous. It is thicker. If the first thing you introduce to your system is caffeine, you are making 3 critical errors at once. First, caffeine is a mild diuretic. It encourages fluid loss, worsening the dehydration you already have. Second, caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. It narrows the blood vessels. Third, caffeine spikes cortisol. So picture this. Your blood is thick like syrup because you are dehydrated. Your blood vessels are being narrowed by the caffeine, and your heart is being told to speed up by the cortisol. You are forcing thick sludge through narrow pipes at a high speed. This causes a massive spike in arterial pressure. This is the mechanism that raises the risk of morning heart attacks and strokes. The solution is the water first principle. It is the golden rule of senior health. Before you touch the coffee pot, you must drink a full glass, at least 8 to 12 ounces, of room temperature water. Why room temperature? Because it absorbs faster and doesn't shock the system. When you drink this water, you are rehydrating your blood plasma. You are thinning the blood, making it easier to pump. You are flushing out the metabolic waste from the night. You are priming your stomach. Once you have had that water, wait 15 to 20 minutes. Then have your coffee. By simply adding that buffer of water, you change the coffee from a stressor into a pleasure. You protect your kidneys, you protect your brain, but most importantly, you protect your heart muscle from working overtime. I had a patient, let's call him David. David was 68 and suffered from chronic morning fatigue and high blood pressure. He relied on 3 cups of strong coffee to get going, but he felt terrible, jittery, and tired at the same time. He didn't believe me when I told him the coffee was the problem. He thought he needed more caffeine. I challenged him to the water first protocol for 1 week, just 1 glass of water before the coffee. He came back amazed. He said, "It feels like my brain turns on faster." His morning blood pressure readings dropped significantly. His energy stabilized. He wasn't tired because he wasn't dehydrated anymore. It sounds too simple to be true, but the biology doesn't lie. Thick blood causes clots. Clots cause heart attacks. Water thins blood. Therefore, water prevents heart attacks. So, here is your prescription for tomorrow morning. Don't reach for the phone. Don't jump out of bed. Sit up slowly, wiggle your toes, walk calmly to the kitchen, pour a tall glass of water, drink it with gratitude, knowing you are literally washing your arteries and preparing your heart for a strong, healthy day. Then, and only then, enjoy your breakfast and your coffee. These small adjustments don't cost money. They don't require a doctor's visit, but they require mindfulness. They require you to value your heart enough to change habits you've held for decades. I want to know which of these habits you are going to change first. Are you a coffee first person? Do you check the news in bed? Let me know in the comments below. I read them, and I want to support you in this change. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to the channel. We are building a community here dedicated to exposing the simple truths about aging that mainstream medicine often overlooks. In my next video, I'm going to discuss the 3 healthy fruits that are actually spiking your blood sugar and inflammation. You won't want to miss that. Drink your water, protect your heart, and I'll see you in the next video.